Welcome, everybody. So first, I want to give you a warm welcome from freezing Oslo and thank all of you who have joined this webinar. I can see that we have over 50 people virtually connected. This is really great. What a community. Now, the official launch of the DHIS2 Community of Practice is tomorrow. And I want to thank all of you who have already joined the COP and have been active. This is an excellent sign of engagement. During this webinar, we will answer the following questions. Who is the community? Why the DHIS2 Community of Practice? We will also give a short demo of the Community of Practice platform and introduce the core team. I would like to ask you already to start thinking about venues, events, conferences, workshops, roadshows, anything where we could promote the Community of Practice and cast the net even wider to our DHIS2 users. After we finish the presentation, there will be time for questions from the audience. So you can already start thinking about things you would like to know about, and if we haven't answered them during the presentation, feel free to speak up. So who is the DHIS2 community? Well, I would like to share with you some key statistics about DHIS2. Today, DHIS2 is the world's largest HMIS platform in use by 67 low and middle income countries. With the inclusion of NGO-based programs, DHIS2 is in use in more than 100 countries. So around 2.3 billion people live in countries where DHIS2 is used. With the DHIS2 academies, there have already been 4,500 participants trained, and more academies are scheduled in 2019. Looking at these numbers, it is easy to understand that the number of DHIS2 users is far too many to count, and the pool is ever increasing. The community is rapidly growing. Community members are people with unique DHIS2 experiences from around the world. Many fall into these categories, but this list is by no means exhaustive. You have governments, NGOs, the HISP network, private companies, and international organizations. The DHIS2 community has many characteristics. Here is a list of a few of them. The community has commitment to contribute to a global good, lots of questions and needs, vast amount of knowledge, expertise, and know-how, and a willingness to share skills, expertise, and know-how. So why have we developed the DHIS2 Community of Practice? Well, we heard from many of the users about the lack of having one place where they could find DHIS2 resources and information in one centralized place. So one of the goals of the COP will be that it is a one-stop shop to find relevant resources and information online about DHIS2. The COP will help users to stop reinventing the wheels in DHIS2 implementations and will let them get support from other users. The COP will be a place to ask questions about DHIS2 and receive answers. It's also a place where you can start a discussion about a particular issue or topic that you are dealing with. On the Community of Practice, The DHIS2 roadmaps will be published, and you'll be able to discuss new features. It's also a place for comments and feedback from the community. This is community-driven. We want community engagement. We want to make this a place where you can make connections. We also want feedback from the community, because this feedback can ultimately find its way into new versions of DHIS2. The CoP platform itself. Well, through a partnership with Population Services International and funding from Digital Square, we have developed a single DHIS2 web-based community of practice on the platform Discourse. Now, discussions around DHIS2 have been archived on Launchpad for nearly 10 years. And we didn't want to lose this valuable knowledge base when we migrated over to Discourse. So now, all of the archives have been merged from Launchpad and are now on Discourse. This means that almost 10 years of knowledge base has been imported and is now available to all of you as the community. Already, we have over 1,000 members who have joined the community of practice. There are already more than 33,000 topics and already more than 58,000 posts on the community of practice. I think that's quite impressive. I don't know about you, but I think that's really neat. The CoP platform. Now, this is created for you, the community, and it's the community that will create and curate the content. As DHIS2 is very broad, we can also develop sub-communities of practice based on demand from you, the community. An example of a sub-COP would be case-based surveillance. Now, the sub-COPs will allow for a more specialized and nuanced conversation and discussion. And then these will feed back to the larger DHIS2 community. The platform has some features which I will mention here, but of course there are many more features. So I hope that once you start using the platform, you will experience and find out more about them. But one thing that you can set up in your profile are email notifications. So you can set up notifications that you can receive into your inbox from the subcommunities that you are interested in. You can also receive daily or weekly summary of the highlights of the most active discussions. So it's up to you to go in and tailor your profile and create your profile to meet the needs that you have. When these notifications come into your inbox, you can respond directly from your inbox to the notification, but we would encourage all of you to do the responding and the replies and the chats and everything in the community itself, so that we can ensure that it is tagged correctly, sorted correctly, so it'll be easier found by the rest of the community. Another feature of the platform is that it will create less duplications of posts and create a better search when you're looking for a particular topic. There will be related questions suggested when you are creating a new topic. There'll be a choice of answers to a question, which will show up. It'll also be easier to search through the archives, and there'll be better search results in Google. The community of practice using this platform is more interactive than sending emails. Like other social media platforms, you can like posts, you'll get badges, there's emojis, rich text plugins. So this allows more interactivity with the users. The CoP platform is open source, and it is easy to export posts and materials. We would now like to give you a short tour of the DHIS2 Community of Practice. And I will invite my colleague, Carolina Tuftelian, to walk us through the Community of Practice.
Thank you, Kerstin. Yes, I will take you on a short little tour of Discourse. So, what I would like to start with is just the main page of Discourse. When you enter, this is for a user that, for example, hasn't signed up yet. And at the top, you will see some kind of first steps to help you join the community. And on the left side, you will see the different categories that we have created so far. And on the right, you will see the latest posts, including some of the posts that we have pinned that we think it's important that people see as they enter the CoP. So why don't we click on the Introduce Yourself thread, which is where we would really like for you all to post your first post, introduce yourself, and just let the community know who you are, what you work on, and so on. As you can see, the first post will give you some pointers on what you can tell us. Then let's go on to a specific post just to show you some of the things that Kerstin said you could do in Discourse. So as you can see, here's my introduction post. And as you can also see, I am using some emojis and so on. And as I want to show you, I can't like my own post, but I can usually, well, I've already liked this post, so I'll go to one of James's posts and I will like his post. And as you can see, it went from 2 to 3 likes. Another thing I want to show you is that you can mention people and groups and they will get notifications. So here I'm inside a reply to our CoP webinar post on Discourse. And I'm saying we're in the webinar and I want to show you how to tag people and group. So you do the and I want to tag Kerstin. And so as you can see in the preview, she's tagged. What we also have and will continue to create are different kind of groups. So for example, for now, we have the dev team, different dev teams as groups. So if I see a support post or something that I think, for example, the Android team should take a look at, I will just go and say, I want to tag the Android team. So, and then it tells you usually if you are sure you want to notify a person, but I'm sure. And then I can send the reply. And then they will get the notifications. I also want to show another thing Kerstin mentioned, which are the badges. So these are different badges you can get. For example, you can see you can get one for filling out profile information. You can get it for using emojis, which is, here you see the number of people, so you can see quite a lot of people have already gotten that badge. You can also get it for liking a post, mentioning other users. Then there's more advanced as, you know, receiving several likes, being online for many days in a row, and so on. So that's a fun little gamification addition to Discourse. And then we would like to show you when you, the thing that Kerstin was saying about how we want to try and avoid duplication. So one of the things that Discourse does is that it will show you suggested topics. So if I, for example, I'm thinking I would like to know what kind of disease surveillance features that are relevant in the 229 release. I start writing that as a topic, for example, or you start writing it in the post itself. And you can see on the right side here that it says your topic is similar to, and then you see lots of different topics that that might be related to what you want to post about. Either you can just keep writing here and create a topic, or you can then decide, oh yes, this is exactly what I wanted to see, and you go into, or you click there, and then you are taken to that post. Another thing that we really hope will be helpful in this, specifically the support category, is to mark posts as a solution. So for example, last week, Kelvin wrote about a tracker error and posted it on the community. And then if we scroll a bit down, we see that Lucas answered his request, or answered with the right solution. What we then do is that we will mark it, or we will say this reply solves the problem. What happens then is that whenever someone goes into this thread, they will then see that it's solved, and they will see the right answer right away in the first post. The next thing I want to show you is our forum feedback category. So this is where I hope maybe after this webinar, or when you've tried out Discourse a bit, you can post here about different feedback to the forum. We really, really want to hear more about that. And then the last thing I wanted to show you all was an example of an email of the ones that you can get if you would like to have kind of the daily or the weekly summaries. Then you would get an email like this saying how many topics, how many notifications, maybe how many likes you've received since the last time we visited, and then maybe a few of the most popular posts since then. So I believe that's it for the demo so far. So I'm gonna hand it back over to Kerstin.
Thank you, Carolina. That was a very informative tour. I would now like to introduce the core COP team. So even though the COP is community-driven, there is a team that's working to support the platform and just to coordinate different things that come in and out. So as I mentioned before, the COP is a partnership between the University of Oslo and PSI. So from the University of Oslo, sitting in Oslo, Norway, is myself, Kerstin Andreasen, our tour guide, Carolina Tufte-Lien, Mathieu Pinard, and Scott Ruspatrick. At PSI, in their offices in Nairobi, Martin Dale and Christina Luciana are working part-time, and we have 2 full-time colleagues who are dedicated to the community of practice, Josephine and James. And I would now like to give Josephine and James the opportunity to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about what they do, how they're supporting the community of practice, and also talk a little bit about what they've seen so far. So here you go, Josephine and James.
Hi everyone, welcome to the launch webinar, and it is a pleasure to be here. So thank you so much, Justin, for the introduction. So my name's Josephine Mavumbo Katambo, and I'll be the Community of Practice Manager. I am a marketing professional with 5 years experience, and my main role here would be to ensure that we have a successful COP, ensure that teams are engaged, and we get to share, learn, connect, and contribute, yeah, all of us. So thank you so much, and I will hand over to James.
Okay, this is James speaking. I'll be the Community of Practice Coordinator, whereby I'll be assisting each and everyone to get access to the resources that they need at any given time, as well as also look for opportunities to actually grow the community beyond beyond the countries that we support. Yeah, basically what we've seen so far in the community, I'd say there's a lot of energy that has started brewing from different countries and different people using the DHIS2 software. And it's actually really exciting to be part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine and James. We really look forward to continue to work with you. You've been on board for a couple of weeks now, and we really look forward to all that you are going to be contributing to making this community of practice run smoothly, and yeah, all of the work you'll be doing. So thank you. Now, as I mentioned before, we want to promote this community of practice. We want to make sure that we reach as many users as possible, that they know about the community of practice, that they become active, they contribute. So please let us know of conferences, workshops, roadshows, any sort of events where we can present the community of practice. And we'd also love to hear from you about the community of practice in general. Your feedback is very important for building a COP that works for you. So Carolina showed us the forum feedback category. So we really encourage you to send any feedback and comments you have, any questions or suggestions for improvement to the forum feedback. So that concludes the presentation part of this webinar. Now it's time for questions and answers. So you can either click raise hand in the Zoom window, or you can send a message in the chat box. And I suggest that we bundle questions. So we take 4 or 5 questions, and then we'll respond to those, and then we'll continue until all the questions are answered. So now the floor is yours. Okay, we have received one question already through the chat from Navendu Shekhar. The question is, there are various listservs that DHIS2 users have been using so far. How will they be integrated into this platform? I'll wait to see if there's any more questions right away. I'll wait a few seconds and then we can answer that.
What happened?
Another, oh, thank you. Another is, you mentioned the merging of Launchpad to the COP. What happens to the JIRA community? And another question, how often will we do webinars on specific topics, like news of version 2.30? Will the community include capacity building? We have one from Marguerite at Digital Square. I missed the beginning of the webinar. Do you plan tags for issues, questions that users could use to avoid people posting the same topics? I think we'll stop for this. We'll bundle these questions together and respond to those.
Yeah, this is Caroline. We'll start with the first question about the various listservs for DHIS2. So the main ones from UIO's knowledge, and at least, have been the 2 Launchpad lists, the DHIS2 user and the DHIS2 dev mailing lists. And those 2 lists are the ones that have been imported into the new COP on Discourse. And so they will actually then be, those Launchpad lists will be closed tomorrow when we officially launch the one on Discourse. In terms of other listservs, the case-based surveillance listserv that we have has also been imported. And I guess if there are any other listservs that you know of that are being used and that you maybe want to import and integrate into this new COP, then you can let us know and we can see about that. But in terms of the JIRA is a bit separate because it's more of a tool for the software development itself. Maybe Scott, who's also here with us, can add a bit more in terms of how JIRA is different.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thanks. The JIRA community, JIRA is not going anywhere. JIRA is the place where we receive all of the feature requests, bug reports. It's where we use day in, day out for our own development of DHIS2. So JIRA is still there. Now, what we encourage you to do is use the community of practice, the support channel on the community of practice, to list or announce if you have any issues or problems that you're facing. We have James here, who is a technical expert on DHIS2, who's going through the support category, nearly full time, helping answer those questions, just as Caroline had demonstrated, marking solutions. Now, James is fully aware of this when a problem is listed on the support, that may be a bug or it may be a feature request. And so he will help you, whoever posted that, convert that post from the COP into a JIRA ticket. And the JIRA ticket is what the dev team here will then follow up on. Of course, you can always go straight to JIRA. If you're a DHIS2 expert, you know that you found a bug, please, you can go straight into JIRA and report that bug. That's fine too.
Thanks, Scott. Now we have, how often will we do webinars on specific topics? Well, we don't have a schedule yet, but we plan on doing webinars fairly often when we have the specific topics to do webinars about. We also, we host those webinars, but we're also happy to be panelists or do webinars hosted by other organizations. For example, next week, we will be giving a presentation very similar to the one that we gave for you now to another group. And once I have more information on that, I will post that on the community practice, so you could tune in if you want this again.
So Daniel here asked an interesting question. How often will we do, he asked, which one is that?
So yeah, we
different versions. I did want to point out that in the development channel, we will be posting the roadmap. We will be also posting screenshots, demos, and mock-ups of new features, functionalities in DHIS2. Actually, just probably later this week or next week, I'm planning to post a mock-up of the new push analytics functionality in DHIS2. And so we highly encourage you to keep an eye on that, subscribe to that channel, and when new features are put there, give us feedback on it. Usually the mock-ups have they're not static. You can interact a little bit with them, click around, and let us know what works. And I think we're all on the development side. I'm really looking forward to this being an opportunity for us to get a lot more feedback on the features and functionalities that we do develop.
Yes. In addition to that, about the webinars is, of course, that we also want to hear from the community what kind of webinars they want to see.
Yes.
So we'll probably create a topic where people can, either if there's a specific topic you want to learn more about and want to hear from us, or if you have a topic, an implementation user story, or something that you would like to share. Either of those will be very much welcome.
Yes. So will the community include capacity building? Well, we have the DHIS2 academies, level 1 and level 2. And they are, the level 1s, their registration is open, so you need to enroll, and then there's, of course, a whole process of being accepted and everything. But that information is posted on the community of practice. And our academy coordinator, she's constantly updating when there's new academies to be launched. So I encourage you to continue looking there about the different DHIS2 academies.
And this is also where you can use the feedback forum to tell us where, if you'd like to have more webinars or more specific capacity building content on the community of practice. Again, we will respond to what you post on the feedback channel. So let us know if you're struggling with knowing how to do something in DHIS2. You're probably not the only one out there. The community of practice is, that's why we have the community of practice now, to be able to address that kind of situation.
Yeah. So we have from Marguerite at Digital Square Path, wondering if we plan tags for issues and questions that users could use to avoid people posting the same topics.
Yes, we do plan to implement different kind of tags. In Discourse, if you go up to the, well, maybe I can even show you guys right now. If you go up in the top right corner, there's an option called tags. And I mean, since we're in the start, we haven't started tagging everything yet, or we try to start tagging new posts at least with tags, so it'll be easier for people to see, if they have a specific issue around, either if it's Tracker or Android, that's a bit less specific, but we hope we can also look into having more specific tasks. So exactly, that they can go in there and see what other posts with that tag has already been created.
Gillian has asked an interesting question. Is there a way for members of the community of practice to show that they are available for contracts, or to show their specific skills for maybe DHIS2 projects that may become available? That's a really interesting question. We do want to make sure this is a place where people are able to connect, and we do appreciate that there are a lot of DHIS2 expertise out there, but there's also a lot of DHIS2 needs as well. So there is a forum called Marketplace, and I think Caroline's taking us there somewhere. Connect and Marketplace. And this is where you're able to post, and you see some people have already done it, where you're able to post maybe RFPs or job openings or consultancies that are required, and people then are able to reply in turn. Of course, you're free to update your profile information with whatever you would like. So if you're a consultant out there looking for DHIS2 contracts, maybe it's you have that information available in your profile. But that's up to you to make your profile what you want. But of course, the Marketplace forum is for folks to get connected for potential business or job opportunities.
Yeah, great. Now we have a question about social media to inform people about the COP, and if there's going to be hashtags that can be used. And yes, there definitely will be hashtags. And we're also creating some tweets that we would ask our members of the community to put on their Twitter feeds, their Facebook feeds, to advertise for the community of practice. So once we have those, I'll put those on the COP, and yes, please use them. And if you have ideas also for different tags, let us know. We're just reading through some of your comments to make sure we best answer the questions that you have.
We're getting a technical question about WAR files and updates. This one's a little bit beyond, I think, the scope of this webinar. But just to say that this, if you have questions about updates or very technical questions about running the scripts or, issues with WAR files, whatever, this is the place where you can post that to support. And James and us on the development team are going through this and looking at these posts. We're being tagged to these posts, and we're following up on this. So these kinds of questions, even very technical questions, this is the place to get support and help with that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions here is the possibility to have DHIS2 community practice within a country using the same platform. We have discussed a little bit around having sub-communities that are maybe just one country or one region, just as we made the example of having a sub-community around disease surveillance. That's certainly possible. There's nothing preventing that necessarily. So I think it's worthwhile having the conversation, figuring out what that becomes and how we can support that.
Yeah, I think that will be a bit more as we go forward, seeing what the needs are. If we see that there's a very big community from one country, for example, then that is something we can look at. I did want to show that we have one category at least that is called, do you want to say it? Le Coin
des Francophones. So this is where you can post in French and we'll respond in French. We wish we could offer other languages, but our capacity, we don't have the capacity to do the other languages, but we have enough Francophones who can answer your questions. So I encourage you to post in French, and as Scott and Carolina mentioned, if there is really enough of a need, we can even go farther to create a sub-community. But here is the place where we can at least accommodate our Francophone speakers.
Okay, so the next question is, the COP platform will need active curation from the team behind the COP. How long do you have funding for such active management? And how will this be sustained after this funding ends? So with this kind of starting this new platform and starting Discourse, we're very happy about having received funding for Digital Square for the first year of running this COP. And we will continue looking for funding for future years, and maybe including it in some of our other core funding, including this COP support. But we also see that as time goes on, there will probably be more community participation, and that, yes, there will still be curation, but it will also be a lot of participation from the community itself. So we're hoping that things will kind of happen like organically. You guys have any?
No, I think that one thing that's critically important for the long-term sustainability of this is that it is heavily used. This is, you consider it as a community member, one of the go-to resources for DHIS2. You're talking about it, you're communicating it with your partners, your clients, and we're seeing it grow. We're really seeing it thrive and take a life of its own. If it's not heavily used, or if it's not actually useful to you as a DHIS2 user, then it's hard for us to justify continued funding for it. So please use it. Please tell us how we can make it better so it helps you use it more. And I think that will make a very strong case going forward for its continued sustainability.
Yes, thank you, Scott. There was a question about posting this presentation and recordings, and yes, we will put that on we will make those available here on the COP. We also have a YouTube channel, so DHIS2, so we will put the recording there along with the slides, and we'll also share it on the DHIS2 Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Our good friends over at HISPR wanted to bring up an interesting point that there could be a lot of interesting stuff happening in the French thread that may need to be translated over to the English to be able to share. That's a very good point. Thank you for raising that. Yeah, we do have on the staff here, Shaston, fluent French speaker, Matthew, he is French. So we can definitely flag those kind of things, get them translated and post them into the English form as well.
yes. All right, I don't see any more questions. So,
and hopefully we didn't miss any either while scrolling down. So please, if you have any extra questions, you can post them now.
Post them now. Yes. And you can also post questions anytime on the COP. Once again, the email address is, or sorry, not the email address, the web link is community.dhis2.org. So that would be a good place, because then that discussion is always there. Mm-hmm. Once we close the webinar, these discussions would be lost. Oh, there's another question. All right.
So the question is, can users advance in ranking? Which is kind of fun to think about. That, yeah, it is a fairly gamified platform. Maybe we think about DHIS2 having ranking someday. That's just a joke. But if you do go, sorry.
Well, again, we do have the different badges, which is sort of a way to show that you participated or you posted a lot or you're liking things. There is also, Discourse has something called trust levels. So you can kind of, the more you participate, the more you get to do. And there's actually a little secret forum for the people that are trust level 3 and above, just, to kind of encourage people to post a bit. I mean, I think I'm, as an admin, you're automatically trust level 4, and then everyone starts at 0, and then as you post more and more, you're going up in levels. And there's also a way to create custom badges. So this is, again, something we can look into, and you can post about it in the feedback, and we can look into whether that's something fun. We can do some specific DHIS2 badges and so on.
Like if you answer like 10 questions, you're a DHIS2 power user badge or something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
We can have fun with that. So you guys let us know in the feedback forum what you might have, any ideas for badges or ways that we can make this a little bit more exciting.
And then there's that. Oh, the other one. I wanted to see this. Okay, so I often feel that developers are overworked, overburdened with questions. I feel that it might be a good idea to provide level of support platforms where people with less skill can contribute to answer questions on the more basic question support needs.
Yeah, Terrence, we couldn't agree with you more. The developers here, you talk to any of them, they have a roadmap a mile long. And what we want the support forum or thread to be is a place where you can post any general question that you have about DHIS2. And again, we have James who's looking through that. James knows DHIS2 backwards and forwards, and he's able to provide some answers. He's able to direct those questions to people who would be able to provide answers. And he's also able to notify us here and the core team about questions that he's unable to answer, or other people in the community are unable to answer. Yes, we do not necessarily want, part of the idea here is to kind of crowdsource solutions to DHIS2. There's a lot of implementations that are very unique and things that we don't, as University of Oslo, have insight to. So you may have a specific implementation of DHIS2 that's causing some kind of problem, or if you're having some kind of issue. There's probably other people who are doing that. It's just a matter of connecting and being able to share ideas and answers and questions that you have. And that's where the support category, I think, will be very useful. Of course, again, if you're a DHIS2 expert, you find a bug, you know it's a bug, you can always report that directly into JIRA.
And then Kala was making a comment as well, just about that. Discourse is free and open source, as we mentioned. So it could be possible to copy relevant content from the global COP into a country region specific one. That is true, but also we would really like to have, if there's a big region, we see a big group or for a region or a country that would like to just have a sub forum at Discourse, if the demand is there, this is something I think we can do as well. So we have all the resources and discussions in one place. Yes,
exactly. And we've just started this, we've just launched this. So this will be growing and taking on sort of a life of its own, depending on, the needs that the community has. So we're really excited to see how this will grow. And I don't think any of us can write down right now exactly how it's going to look in a few months, in a year. And that's what makes it really exciting. It's a group effort, a community effort. So doesn't look like we have any other questions or comments. So we'll give you a couple more minutes in case there's anything else you want us to discuss right now. And if not, like I said, there is the COP where you can post questions and hear from others. And I know I can speak for myself and probably my colleagues here in Oslo that we're really excited for this. And it's been something that I know the community has wanted for a while, and I'm glad that we are able to finally have this. How soon will this presentation be available on the COP? As soon as we finish this, I'll just listen to the recording and seeing if anything has to be, sound-wise, needs to be cleaned up or edited, and then we'll post it out. We'll post it there. Mm-hmm. Yes. So.
Okay, well, I think that might be it for us then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But please tell your colleagues, tell your friends, tell your kids about the DHIS2 community practice. It's all of us that have joined this. You're probably the most faithful of DHIS2 users. We appreciate that. Please do share this, even with low-level users, ministries of health, district health officers, anyone who just needs resources and support on DHIS2. This is a place for them.
The frequency of this webinar. I guess we can see, if there's a need for another demo of the site, if we have a lot of new users or new members who have joined and they'd like a repeat of the demo and even of the introduction that we gave, we're more than happy to accommodate that. So just, it would be sending a submission or suggestion through the forum feedback, and then we can see what we can do about that. So I want to thank everybody for having participated, and really look forward to hearing from all of you and seeing all of you active on the community.
Thanks so much.